Greetings to you, Crocodile Army. I took a long weekend off with Mrs. Zaunstar last week to New York City for our 13th wedding anniversary, so as the government was shutting down, we were on Amtrak headed back home to the D.C. area. There's been a lot of tragedy and just general bizarreness in this area recently, with a mass shooting at the Navy Yard, a mentally ill woman crashing into security barricades who was subsequently killed by police, and then on Friday a guy set himself on fire and died near the National Mall. The government shutdown is certainly not helping anyone's mental health around here, and it's every bit the circus that we thought it would be. I don't work for the government, so this doesn't affect me directly yet, but it does disproportionately affect this area of the country, and over 800,000 people are temporarily out of work. Of course, Tea Partiers think that government work is somehow not actual work. I honestly didn't think it would come down to this right now. You see, I'm actually old enough to remember the last government shutdown quite well, and I'm surprised that Republicans are doing it again. You may ask why I blame only Republicans when a lot of low-information voters just blame both sides equally. I do it because they are the party who for weeks threatened to do it and rallied their caucus to do it after encouragement from many of their constituents. You can't realistically expect people to believe that you can do all that and have it not be your fault, and it certainly wasn't Democrats who were lobbying for a shutdown. Basically, Obamacare was passed in Congress, Obama signed it into law, and the Supreme Court upheld it. Now Republicans are trying a last-ditch effort to derail it. This is despite the fact that we just had an election 11 months ago, where if the voters had wanted to, we could have elected Romney as president, and more Republicans in the Senate, and Obamacare may have been repealed through the normal legislative process. But we didn't, so what was their response? Republicans decided to take our economy hostage. So let's talk about our orange-skinned majority leader in the House, John Boehner, whose name would really be pronounced more like Boehner in German, but he has it pronounced like that so Americans don't call him Boehner. Now, Boehner will tell you that Obamacare is going to be expensive, and that it will kill jobs. This is the usual short-sightedness of looking at costs and not at savings. You see, lost wages and lost productivity due to lack of access to proper health care are a significant hit on the economy too. I actually suspect that this government shutdown gambit is purely out of fear, that if Obamacare proves to be successful, that public opinion, which is roughly split on the issue when those who think it doesn't go far enough are taken into account, will suddenly swing Obama's way. That would be a devastating blow to the central thesis of Republicans, that people who are poor or sick must have done something to deserve it, and helping them will just encourage them to be leeches. Oh, and don't forget, if you're middle class and struggling, that's because of poor people. As for a way out of this crisis, I think it's up to Republicans to figure out it's a losing battle. This was their nuclear option that they chose when all else failed. This is what Ted Cruz and John Boehner wanted, and they still have Newt Gingrich, the architect of the last shutdown, cheering them all the way off that cliff. Why should Democrats negotiate with economic terrorists who tell you that they're going to shut down the government unless you destroy or delay something they don't like? Can you imagine the precedent that sets? If they get a 1-year delay in implementation, they will threaten to shut it down every year to get something else. If it turns out that Obamacare isn't useful at all, they'll have their shot at it again at the ballot box. Personally, I think that Obamacare is a reasonable step in the right direction, and we could really use some of that kind of care in Congress. After all, we've had a Boehner for years now, and we really need some medical attention at this point. Good thing Obamacare covers embarrassing pre-existing conditions.